Something ain't right around here. What it is ain't so clear. Well, I got 2 county marshals at the door. And I don't want to stay here anymore. No, I don't. I got things that I've left undone. And I got 3 chords and a suitcase and a story to tell. Yeah, I do.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the Godfathers podcast. Our special guest today, the one and the only Julian Stone, everybody. Julian, thank you so much for joining us, my man.
Hey, pal. My pleasure. Good to see you.
Oh, great to see you. Hopefully we got all the technical difficulties out of the way. Bruce and I deal with this from time to time.
Nobody
very
knows
well,
any of
mind
that.
you.
Nobody knows any of that.
No, they
Looking
don't.
at-
They don't.
Looking as
I was
handsome
just
as
giving him
ever,
a peek
Julian.
behind the curtain.
Yeah. Never mind the man behind the curtain. Ignore the man behind the curtain.
Ignore the man behind the curtain wearing an open robe. Julian,
Hey.
so nice to have you, man. Thank you so much for doing this.
Good to see you.
Hey, tell us about your Call of Duty, because you've done several voices. You've done multiple games. Like we're just in Black Ops, but you've done a shitload of stuff. So kind of fill in the audience who you are and where you're from. Where they know you from.
Yeah, I mean, just going back. I mean, I started on sort of the CNC Generals and Medal of Honor, and some of the early stuff, and some of the early Call of Duty, and just got rolled through a bunch of the games. And then the biggest one lately was obviously Call of Duty Warzone, which has obviously grown and grown and grown.
Yeah.
Which has been fun, and we started that pre-pandemic.
Yeah.
In development, and then obviously pandemic hit, and then it landed, and kept going after that.
But still, it was the gift that kept giving during the pandemic, which we all love.
Which we loved, right? And because it's amazing how in the pandemic we learned that we could do stuff at home, right?
In our underwear.
Yes.
Speak for yourself, Bruce. I was dressed in a 3-piece suit while I did Warzone.
Of course you were.
I can imagine. I can see it. I can see it right now.
With a voice like that, you've got to be. Yeah.
Exactly. I went full James Bond on it, but
Yeah.
But yeah, no. I mean, it was great. I mean, one of the surprising things I had was I do a fair bit of looping in features.
Yeah.
And that was the thing that you thought you could never do remotely, because you have 12 people running around in a circle doing a donut on a sound stage.
Everybody playing a different person in the bar in the background crossing.
Hold on.
All of that stuff.
We
right?
know this is inside stuff. Tell the fans what looping means. Like, some people might not know what the hell looping is.
Yeah, I mean, it's this. But basically, when they shoot a movie, I mean TV as well, but let's do with a movie. They pretty much only mic the principals. So, classic example: Pirates of the Caribbean, which was the first loop job I ever did. They would loop Johnny Depp and Jeffrey Rush, and they would have a sword fight. But everyone else who you see falling and dying and opening their mouth behind, there's no sound.
Yeah, gotcha. So you give voice to all these people that are dying.
You go in there
in this movie, anyway.
Yeah, exactly. And the strange thing is sometimes you'll get someone in the background who got very enthusiastic and their mouth is moving sort of 1,000 times a minute, right? And someone's going, "Okay, you've got to put some words in that," and you're like, "What was he saying?"
So this is some bit actor that's really trying to make a presence of himself, and so he's talking away while he's dying.
Yeah.
And you're going,
trying to get upgraded. Trying to get upgraded.
Dying to get a line. Yeah, give me a couple lines, man, so I can get it bumped. Yep.
Yeah. Right behind the principal, right? So, but just going back to it, I mean, that was one of the interesting things you thought that could never happen in the pandemic where we were all separated, but they found ways to do that, right? So there would be 12 actors all over Los Angeles, or not even in Los Angeles, all going into the same sort of channel, through Source Connect or one of those those things.
Yeah.
And the sound design, and some of the sound designers really loved it because as opposed to having one mass noise, they've actually got 12 channels now, right? So if it's too heavy, if it's too light, you can tweak the different channels, you know.
Up and down. Yes, exactly. Yeah.
Right.
Who's the guy doing the really bad Liverpudlian accent?
Exactly.
He's gone, you know, that kind of
fucking
thing. You know.
He's out.
Hey, so when you first started Call of Duty, then, so how did you was there a certain casting director that really fell in love with you and just said, "Hey, you got to do this with us"? And how did you get in?
I think I would, you know, I mean, my
Just a
memory
general
of it-
audition?
Yeah, I mean, we audition because we all audition. You know, I mean, you know, obviously some casting directors know us more than others.
Yeah.
You know, my memory was like there was a role and it just kept spinning out. And at some point, I became UK team leader. And then obviously, you know, that became sort of a bigger and bigger role. You know, and I think, you know, going back to the pandemic, which was, you know, again sort of interesting because that was sort of one of those markers that we're going to use in the rest of our lives, right?
Yeah.
But you know, I've met people afterwards who Warzone became really important to a lot of people because it was their only form of connection, right, around the world. I mean, we know Marwan, for example, who's talked about that, right, on his podcast. You know, that there's that sense of, you know, you were disconnected, but the game allowed you to connect with people, right? And so the voices that they were hearing, whether it was you guys or me as the UK team leader telling you what to do and stuff, you know, that became an integral part of everyone's existence during that time. If you were a gamer, you know, I think much more so than if, you know, you could play the game for 2 hours and then go down the pub. You couldn't do that anymore, right? So you were in this bubble, you know, which I found very. I found it very interesting, but also very positive, you know, about that video game experience, because people don't talk about the community, right? They talk about, you know, often people talk about what they think the game's impact is or whatever, but they don't talk about
How
the
they
community
fucked up the game, how the weapons suck, everything like that. Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
stuff, right? So
Do you do conventions as well?
no.
I was just wondering if you interacted with the fan base, like you talking about community.
No, you know, it's funny that and again, I think, you know, where it's a voice, right? I mean,
Yeah.
we've all done TV. I was on a soap for a couple of years, you know.
Yeah.
So
Me too. Yeah.
That makes two of you. Both of you were on soaps back in. Both of you were on soaps in the '90s, right?
I mean, Damon, look at us. Just look at us.
I know.
Of course we.
Yeah.
He knows.
Yeah,
talking
I
about
know.
Julian.
I know. You both are in soaps. I'm still
Yeah,
waiting
I'm
for my
gonna-
call. I'm still waiting for my call from General Hospital. Phone's
There's
not
still
ringing.
time.
Phone's not ringing. Yeah.
There's still time.
They need Guy on Harley #2.
Yeah.
Yeah. But where were we going?
I don't know where the hell we were going. Go ahead, Damon.
It was
It's
about
on
no.
you.
It was about. It was you were talking about doing it during COVID.
And with the voice, and
Yeah.
you know, and the potency of the voice, right?
Sure.
And you know, and I think even with you know, even with characters, and I know you guys have done, you know, some mocap and stuff like that. You know, that where people can kind of relate to the physicality, but the voice is the thing that's resonating, right? Especially when you've got headphones on and you're in
Have you ever done motion capture
Sorry?
for a role? Have you ever done motion capture? No.
Tiny bit.
Tiny
Bits
bits.
and
Yeah.
pieces.
Tiny bit.
I mean, I did facial capture, obviously, for.
We got to get your ass on the stage, man.
Yeah.
That's what we got to
We
do.
have to write him in.
I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not as athletic as you two, obviously.
We have to get. Yes, you are. Look at you. You're in great shape. We have to get you in a 3-piece. We have to get the guy in a 3-piece suit to come out on stage, and that would be cool to break the fourth wall, wouldn't it? Like him to come into the safe house and start.
Great. Yeah. That would be.
That would be funny.
Yeah. But you know
do
what?
a satire.
Just on the on the voice thing, you know, which is again interesting to me because I'm not, you know, like you, Bruce. I'm not a gamer. I love storytelling, but I'm not a gamer in
Yeah.
that sense. But
Yeah.
I met a young guy recently who is a professional soccer player over here, from England, and we were chatting at an event, and he went, "I know your voice." And I said, "Well," I said, "Warzone."
That was my next question. Is like, have you ever been recognized from your voice?
Yeah, and he said, "Oh my God," he said, "In the pandemic in London, that was how he connected with all of his friends, because they were playing the game. So, it's it's an interesting element to it, actually, that element of connection,
Yeah.
100%, man. That's why I asked about the conventions, because when you go to conventions and you talk to these fans, you hear stories that move you to tears, man. It's just like there's we never think about this shit, but when fans have our voices in their head for thousands and thousands of hours, they really get to feel an emotional connection with us. And sometimes when something happens in their family, where there's an illness or some sort of tragedy happens, we, as part of this franchise, bring together a family emotionally and in ways that we could never foresee. It's so moving to hear that firsthand.
No, it's definitely an element that people underappreciate, I think, because everyone sees the headlines, right? I remember on similar, Bruce, maybe you had this as well, but on a soap opera as well, and everyone tends to categorize soaps however you categorize them, because that's what people do, right? But again, the cross section of people I met, where for whatever reason that show meant the world to them because of a moment in their life or whatever. I think people don't get that. I had a funny one, and this is a positive story, not necessarily a sad one, but I was doing a golf tournament up in Wisconsin with all the old Green Bay Packers when I was on the soap.
Oh, sweet.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was great. Bart Starr and everyone, it was great.
Oh, come on.
Bart Starr, no shit. Wow.
Yeah. And the best thing was in the brochure, because Star and Stone were next to each other in the alphabet. When you open the double page,
Julian Stone and Bart Starr on the now teeing off. Bart Starr and Julian Stone. That's
the
badass.
marquee couple.
That's so badass.
Oh my God, that's so cool.
But I always remember I was up there and I was in the getting lunch in the clubhouse, and this woman walked over to me and she went, "Jerry Jacks," and it was my character on the show. She went, "Jerry Jacks," and I went, "No, Bonnie Blair," and she went, "No, Jerry Jacks," and I went, "Bonnie Blair." I don't know if you remember, she won, I think, 5 or 6 gold medals at ice, on the ice, and she was a national hero. And I'm sitting there as a sports guy going, no, it's a soap. You're an Olympic multi-gold medal winner, And she was like, no. She said, when I was training with Dan Jansen, we would do the training in the morning, and then at lunchtime we turn on TV and we'd watch General Hospital, and then it would be...
Wow.
Oh my God, I love that.
So great.
But it's funny because you guys are musicians, but you always hear about musicians want to be actors, and actors, my sense, actors want to be sports stars,
Sure.
So it's.
I have a story like that from real briefly when I did Hall Pass with the Farrelly Brothers film with Jason Sudeikis and Owen Wilson, and I go to the premiere, and I get out of the premiere. We go across the street for the wrap party, right? And so I go across the street, and I'm one of the first guys out of the movie theater. I want to get the hell out. I don't know. I get across the street to go to the wrap party. I walk in. The place is empty except for one guy sitting at the bar. You know who the one guy was? Norm from Cheers.
Oh, yeah.
George Wendt. So, and the young generation won't know what the hell I'm talking about.
But of course, he was the first one at the bar. That's fucking awesome.
Sitting there by himself with the bartender. So I go over there and I order a drink. And George Wendt, Normie, looks at me and goes, "You were great in the movie." And I go, "You're not supposed to say that to me. I'm supposed to say that to you." Yeah. So as it turns out, Jason Sudeikis is his nephew. That's why he was
right?
there to see the movie.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. Oh, interesting.
So we had a long talk, and he was at the time, this was 10 years, what was it, 15 years ago now, shit. But anyway, post all his TV and film work. So I said, "What are you doing now?" He said, 99-seat theater, because I can.
Yeah.
I don't need anything. So I'm telling stories the way I want to.
Brilliant.
It's beautiful.
Great. That's great. So Julian, did you start out as an actor first and then become a voice actor later on? Like, because I know you, I looked at some of your stuff and I know I want to ask you about, you've been on Baywatch back in the day.
Yeah.
Is
Me
that
too. I
true?
wanna ask about
True
that.
or false?
That is true. I did the 99th
Tell the story,
and
please.
100th.
Tell me. Yeah, tell the whole thing.
Yeah. No, I did the 99th and 100th episode. So that was like the syndicated episode, so everyone got excited. And it was the Christmas episode as well.
Okay.
Oh wow!
So
Christmas on the beach.
What? Yeah, on the beach.
Yeah.
And so yeah, I played I played a priest, but you didn't know I was a priest, and Pamela Anderson was concerned that I was falling in love with her, and then you find out I'm a priest, and I wouldn't do that anyway.
How dare? Yeah, you wouldn't dare think of that.
Exactly. But I always remember the funniest thing was when we were shooting the priest scenes. I had all the garb on, and we were shooting on some beach in Malibu in, I don't know, August, September. So it was like 316 degrees on the beach.
Right,
you know?
right.
You got the full collar on, right?
You got the full collar. Everyone else is in a bathing suit. And like,
just so
They're in a
you
red
can
bathing
picture it.
suit or bikini. Yeah.
No, it's just so you can picture it. It's a black priest Speedo with a little white square on the top of it.
Oh, okay.
that's obviously Bruce's Halloween costume, but not in Baywatch. But,
Yeah, wow.
Yeah, but I always remember that, you know, and it was one of those moments where you kind of laugh at the fraud that is. It isn't. No, fraud's the wrong word, but the fakery of it all. You know, because it was Christmas, they wanted to pump snow onto the beach.
Oh, you're kidding.
So
In LA.
Santa Monica.
Yeah, why not?
But it's August. But it's August in Malibu, right? So, and I can remember that they put bits of potato peeling in the fake snow to hold it together.
Okay.
And unless they've probably changed now, but I think it was potato. But all I can remember is that they had to keep moving the camera because they pumped this stuff and it would melt, and there would be this like goop left on the beach where they were.
Oh, the potato
because it had
peeling,
melted, and it was the stuff in that was left. You know, and they just keep moving the cameras trying to get fresh snow. You know, and I remember thinking, this is crazy. You know,
Crazy, yeah. It's
Yeah,
gonna
why
snow
don't
they just
in
use-
LA in the summer. What are you talking about? What?
I did a
What's going
film. I did a film in winter. It was a winter. I think it was called Winter Wedding, and it was like a Lifetime, one of those movies, right? And we shot up in Big Bear, and it took place in the middle of winter. And they used the styrofoam was everywhere because it was a warm winter,
Right.
And they didn't have to use real snow. So why didn't they fucking use fake shit, fake snow? That's weird.
probably for that reason, right? Because I mean, it was just goopy, and but it was fun. I mean, it was it was such an iconic show.
Yeah.
And I remember just after that, I went back to London, and I went back to London for a couple of months, and I had a theatre audition for one of the big theatres, and I had my resume, and I had a lot of American TV on it at the time.
Baywatch.
I'm in London, you know. I think it might have been Shakespeare or something, you know. And so I shifted everything on my resume around, right? And I was pumping all the little plays that I had done on, Melrose or whatever, up to the top, and all the TV to the bottom, you know. And so I walk in.
I'm a theater actor.
Yeah. And I meet the casting director, and I'm going, go on, ask me about that play. In my head, I'm going, ask me about that play. Ask me about regional theatre.
Right.
You know? And she goes, oh, Julian, you were on Baywatch.
Baywatch, of course. And you're
Because
like,
it was the biggest show in the world, right? So it was,
Did she make you show her your abs?
No.
Were you the priest with the abs? No, you didn't. You didn't
No,
do all that. No. Damn it!
No, I'm an Englishman. We don't have abs. You know what?
But it's pop culture, man.
It was
It's
pop,
the
and
best.
it was brilliant because of that, And I did a
Did
job.
you get in?
I did a
Did they
job
get
in the
you
Far East a little bit afterwards, and I remember being in a hotel room. I was out there on my own, and the only two things I could find that sort of English-speaking TV on this in this hotel was CNN and multiple repeats of Baywatch. That was it. That was American. No.
So, dude, so we have another connection here because for the Legally Blonde premiere, very briefly again, I go to the wrap party across the street from the world premiere of Legally Blonde in Westwood,
Yep.
right here in LA. And so I go across the street and there's thousands and thousands of people packed into this place and we're all bellied up to the bar trying to get the free drinks, right? So I look up and David Hasselhoff is standing at the at the bar with his group of girls that are with him. And he looks at me and he goes, "Dude!" Because he'd just seen the film.
I love it. I love it.
And that was my sort of breaking out role, right? And so
And you, oh
yeah, exactly. Yeah. Yeah. He's wasted. Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but Bruce,
Wasted.
he didn't say to you, "I'm going on tour in Germany where I'm going to be a major."
No. So
You're a
so
musician. Would you like
No,
to
so
come in
here's,
my band?
here's the thing, though. We did connect, and he had me come over to his place, and he lives on a golf course, and so we played golf.
Oh, nice.
With a mutual friend of ours, and so and on that tour, he was talking about the fact that he wasn't selling out in Vegas for his singing thing. So he was, complaining that, oh, great, I'm going to show up, and the press is going to see that there's nobody here. It's going to be David Hasselhoff finally sings in America, and there's nobody here.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Because he was massive in Germany, wasn't he? I mean, it was just.
He was huge.
Huge in Europe. Yeah.
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 Hasselhoff.
But the phenomenon of Baywatch was wild. I can remember, like, friends would come out and stay with me, and we'd be driving up, PCH, and they'd see a lifeguard tower, and it'd be like Baywatch, and I'm like, no,
Yeah.
4,000 of them on this beach, but it was like
Yeah.
the lifeguard tower, the beach, the Pacific. This is
Yeah.
America.
Yeah.
I mean, it became kind of that was the message of America that traveled around the world, right? I mean,
Art
in the
imitates
80s,
life.
it was Dallas, right? And then it got taken
Right.
over by Baywatch, right?
Hey, so speaking of theater, Julian and I were in New York at the same time together when we were young actors, and we started out both doing theater. So we briefly touched on that off camera. So I'd like to get back into that a little bit. Like I was doing theater on 42nd Street in the early to mid 80s, and you were around there the same time, right? Maybe a little later, but
A little bit later. I came in 87. I came over, so
Okay.
I did
Yeah,
my
yeah,
first
yeah.
play then.
yeah. Yeah. So were you involved in a theater group, or were you just bouncing around? And
I did a multiple thing. I mean, the first play I ever did was with a company called the Meat and Potatoes Company, which was this sort of, semi-iconic off Broadway theater
Yeah.
company that was on the 7th or the 8th or the 9th floor of a garment building on 38th Street, right? And you'd have to everyone would have to take the garment elevator up to the space that they had converted, and they were doing
love it.
classics. I always remember once, because I was in New Jersey at the time, so I would take the train into bus into Port Authority, and then
I
walk
did that
down
too. I
4
did that
blocks,
too.
And I remember I came coming in for one performance, and I guess there was an accident or a breakdown in the tunnel, right? And so I'm in the tunnel on the bus for like an hour and a half.
Oh
And
shit!
this is, for those youngsters out there, this is pre-cell phone, right? So
Yeah.
you have no way to communicate, right?
Yeah. And the show has to go
And
on.
the show has to go on, and there were no understudies, and I'm sitting there thinking I could break out the bus and I could walk through the tunnel, and trying to
Right.
think, how do I get to the stage to do the show, and after finally they opened up the tunnel and the bus went out. I ran to the theatre. I was about 45 minutes late for curtain.
Oh shit!
And I always remember I walked in, and because it was on the 7th or the 8th or the 9th floor, wherever it was, there was no air conditioning. There was a couple of fans in the window. Hello, New York, right? And there were all these lovely old ladies who had come to see the show because it was this British farce, fanning themselves desperately so they didn't pass out in the heat, you know, and it was the humidity.
God.
And then we tried to do.
So did they hold curtain for you?
Yeah,
'Cause
well, they had to.
They had to, because I was going to say, did they miss your scenes or what happened?
Well, I mean,
they held the curtain.
They literally had to, because there were no understudies. It wasn't like anyone could walk on and read the script. You know, I mean, you know, it was like Bruce and off Broadway. I mean,
Yeah.
you were lucky to have a cast, let alone.
No, I mean, what we shoot for here is how many offs we can possibly get in front of Broadway. There was so many offs and a lot of shit that I did.
Yeah. But it did make me realize, you know, because you learn on these experiences, right? About
Of course,
comedy.
Yeah. It's the best way to do it.
Because it was supposed to be funny, and we could not make people laugh because they were so miserable from the sweat and the heat and everything else that, and you're like, you know, you're over hitting jokes to try and go, come on, there's something out there, you know.
Oh my!
But they applauded at the end, so I guess, you know, part of that was for the sort of
that was sympathy. Sympathy applause.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Yeah. Man, there's so many stories. Theater stories. Jesus. And so, yeah, I did the same. Which soaps did you do? You said General Hospital, right? Yeah, that was out here.
I did a substitute on Port Charles, I think, for a couple of weeks. But General Hospital, I hadn't been on a soap before that, and I did about 2 years, just under 2 years on General Hospital. So,
oh, that's cool. Yeah. That's a good long run.
Yeah, it was good. It was good. I mean, it was a really interesting acting experience, because obviously you're getting given a script with 52 pages or whatever it is every day, right? And I can remember getting into that mode where, you know, I'm not the kind of actor who can learn 2 episodes ahead. I'm learning tomorrow's, and then I would walk out and I prop the script up on the dashboard going back, and you know, and every time there was a traffic jam, I'd sit and try and learn a few more lines for the following morning, you know. But it was a blast. I had a blast. I mean, it was.
Don't you love when they? This is my experience too. I did All My Children with Susan Lucci, and so they would come in and multiple things. Yeah, like Young and the Restless too, and they would come in last minute, and they would between blocking rehearsal and shooting, or they'd shoot it once, and then they'd come down and say, okay, we have to cut half the paragraph on page 21, and we got to add 4 lines to the bottom of page 26. Ready to go.
Yeah. Yeah, no, it's great.
And by the way, we've only got 2 takes most.
Yeah,
because we're fried on time. Yeah. And if you don't get it, you know, we're going to be pissed.
Yeah, well, I remember the first day I was on, you know, one of the scenes I was doing, I was kind of halfway through it, and I thought, this scene's off. But because you had that theatre mentality about just get to the end.
Right,
I kind of barreled through and thought, I'll get it on the second take. And they went, great, moving on. And I was like, you know. So you learnt to say, okay, if it's that bad, you need to kill the scene.
You know what? You know, and when I was doing Young and the Restless too, I would. This is. I was out in I think it was probably about a month into my role on Young and the Restless. I was only there for a whole summer. It was a long summer, but it was just a storyline, right? It was an arc to it. Anyway, a month into it, I'm out in the parking lot, and I'm just sitting in my car with the door open after work. And J. Eddie Peck, one of the regulars on the show, came up to me and he goes, what's going on? What's it looks like something's going on. What's the deal? And I said, fuck, I just put something on national television. I don't even know what the fuck I want. I don't know if I want anybody that's there forever. He goes, dude, tell me about it. Almost every day I come out here and I want to puke. Wow. Because it's just a lot of pressure, right? It's a lot of pressure. You've got the fan base. But, you know, I mean, and we're not brain surgeons. We're not saving anybody's life.
Right.
But again, it's your integrity's on the line. Your ass is on the line every day.
Yeah, it is. I think there was I didn't do it, but before I sort of got into acting in the UK, there was a thing called Weekly Rep, which was very big in sort of the 50s, 60s, 70s, whenever, where, you know, the Oliviers and the Gielguds, you would be doing one Shakespeare and you'd be learning the next Shakespeare for the following week, right? I mean, it was literally one a week, right?
Wow.
As soon as you opened, you'd learn the next one. And,
wow.
You know, I remember reading about that guy, and that must have been wild, you know, where you kind of doing Hamlet and reading Richard III, you know. Crazy, right?
That's the
but,
shit.
But
Yeah.
but that was what theatre was, you know, at that time. And I remember when I went on a soap, thinking it feels a little bit, I would imagine, like that, where you're constantly emotions, and you don't have time to sit there and go, you know what,
Emotions run
30
high
minutes
on
to
soap.
get into character on this. It's like,
I mean, it's a telenovela behind the scenes on a soap. It's everybody's running around, yelling at each other, or screaming, or laughing, or whatever.
My question about the soaps, what I've heard is
It's high octane.
the scripts. They'll shoot. How many episodes do you shoot in one day? Do you shoot 2 or 3 episodes in a day? Like that many? Is it that? It's one episode a day.
One.
So 5 days for 5 days, you have a new script and you're shooting. That sounds like it's really intense.
yeah.
It's basically 25 to 30 pages of memorization every single day. If you're
that'd be hell for
recurring
me.
or a regular character.
Yeah.
And not only that, the hardest part about that is it's not so much because you do develop the muscle very quickly. About I could read it a couple of times and have most of it, but the problem is the repetition of the subject matter. The story is retold every day, so it's for
That
the
is
housewives.
you are so fucking canceled.
For the people at home. For the people at home,
I just did the last episode.
Thanks for tuning in, everybody.
So, Bruce Thomas out. So the writers would have to remind the viewer the same story in
kind of like a
different
recap.
ways, said in a different way every single day. It's just regurgitating the same information for those that missed the last day or two, and so you're saying the same subject matter but in different ways, and so that kind of fucks with your head too, because you've got 25 or 30 pages that saying the same sort of thing but jumbled up differently. It's a nightmare. That's why we smoke cigarettes and drink on soap operas.
Oh, please.
Speaking of drinks, I'm going to go refresh.
Julian,
D, take over
please,
for 1 minute.
do you need to get some water or use the restroom, please take this time to do so.
All right.
Yeah, I'm not even sure. We're recording again, but obviously you saw that I dropped out. I think you guys were still recording. We'll find out at the end of this. Hopefully we'll be able to piece it all together.
We need to.
Yeah, no, we don't have to. Well,
again.
hopefully we don't have to do it again. But honestly, we've never had a problem with this dropping out. The internet or this Riverside app is dropping out. For some reason, I've had to restart my computer 3 times. Anyway, I apologize for all the technical difficulties. You guys are telling great stories. I love all of this.
All good.
All of it. Bruce is back.
He's back.
I'm back.
So Julian,
Glasses replenished.
from doing plays and then doing some soap operas and whatnot, did someone hear your voice and say, "Hey, man, I think you should start doing some voice acting"? Did someone tell you that, or did you just kind of go to video games? How did that happen?
I think when I was in New York, and I got an agent in New York, and it was interesting when I left drama school. I can remember people saying, "I don't do TV."
Everybody's so picky when they're young, right?
Everyone had,
I'm not a sellout. I'm not a sellout.
Oh.
Yeah.
Well, that was an.
Yeah.
I'm not doing movies, whatever.
It was an era too. That's what we said in those.
It
days,
was. It was
before the dawn of great TV.
And it was your art, right? And that was the reason you did it. So when I came to New York, I got a terrific agent in New York, and for theatrical and a little bit of commercials, and they literally said, "Well, you should go and meet the voiceover department." And I went, "Oh, okay." So it wasn't. Now the nature of the business is people strategize whole careers about being voiceover artists, right? And and there's a process, and we all know that obviously the ins and outs, and the fact that we can record from home, and there was there's a artistic science to it. But when I started, it was like, oh, you've got an accent.
Right, yeah,
Go to the voiceover
right.
department. I mean, it literally was casual as that, right? And then you kind of waited. So then, everywhere when you would get, when I came to LA and I got a commercial agent, I said, oh, I do voiceovers as well. I mean, it was just, it was almost like the PS, and, and I think like everything in this business, and we can probably all attest to this, there's a cyclical thing, right? I mean, at certain points, your voice hits for certain kinds of jobs, right? I had a little animation period, and then there was a commercial period, and trying to get them all at the same time is hard, right? Because I think the way your voice lands and the intonation and all the bits and pieces around it, because obviously the classic one out there, and I'm sure you guys have heard this a lot, is people go,
everyone I know, almost everyone I know says that. Oh, dude,
right?
Yeah.
Get me hooked up with your agent. I'm like, all right. I'm like, and then I tell them what they have to do. I'm like, go home, like, make a demo.
Yeah, how can I?
Well, what's that? Like, go home, make a demo of you doing 3 or 4 different commercials, and then do 3 or 4 animation things, and then have somebody put music to it, and they're like, oh, it's way too much work. They're just like, they thought they were going to say, introduce me to your voiceover agent, and they're going to take off. Like, dude, that doesn't fucking happen. What are you talking about?
Yeah. Before that, I always tell people, I don't even get into that. I go, you have to be an extremely good actor to be a voiceover artist. Mm-hmm. That's number one. So go make sure you're a really good actor, and then come back to me in a couple years, and then you can ask me that question. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's always stories, and we've all heard them. But I think that reality and and again that acceptance that I remember talking to my agent once years ago, and it didn't seem like I was booking, and it was that kind of nervous actor call where you call up the agent and go, "Is there anything I can do? Because I don't. Is
there anything wrong?"
And I remember him saying, No, you've got a really good booking ratio. And I went, I do? because a lot of times, and I mean, you guys do it when you get auditions at home and, and there's a description of the character. They don't really know what they're looking for, right? No, so there's true. There's a percentage game with it, right? Yeah. There's a, there's a percentage game, so.
I remember the first, when I was doing a series up in Vancouver when I first got the really desire to work on my voiceover craft, and so I got a microphone and stuff and started setting up, and then the series ended and I started doing that from Ojai, the town that I lived in here in California. It was a little ways away from LA, but I started doing that, and I remember I went in to do my first job, the first couple jobs on this game, and I said to the engineer, I said, Jesus, man, I'm not booking any commercials. I've had 850 commercial auditions in the last 2 years. And I said, I haven't booked a single one. And he just looked at me stone cold sober, and he just looked at me. So
because that's what it takes. Because that's what it takes.
And I went, oh, fuck, you're right. You're right. Yep. Just keep going.
Yeah. Yeah.
You'll find it. Yeah. You'll find it.
What about you, Damon? How did you get? I mean, you've got an iconic character on COD.
I got into it. I went to I moved to New York when I was 18 and went to the American Academy of Dramatic Arts. Started studying. I lived, ate, and breathed theater for 8 years. And but I was also a drummer in a band in New York. But finally, I got the notion that I need to leave New York to go to LA, and when I moved to LA to be an actor, I got in 2 bands immediately, and one of my bands took off and got a record deal. So I left acting for about 10 or 12 years, and then I left the band, and a couple of my buddies from New York who I studied theater with were doing voiceover, and they were doing very well. And they were like, dude, you should really get into voiceover. And my buddy, he got me in a loop group. One of the only loops I've done was for that David Duchovny show, Californication. And I went in and I got in a loop group for that one episode. 2008.
Let's talk about
loop group. Well, it's like what
let's explain
it's like
what
ADR,
loop
what Julian was talking about. there'd be a scene, 2 actors in a bar, and then there's 30 people in the bar who aren't talking. So you go in and fill in every voice behind that. So
Right.
with words.
You have to fill
And
their
you're
mouth with words.
You know, you see somebody, up. You're like, oh, somebody's got to be this loudmouth chick over here. Somebody's got to be this loudmouth dude.
Yeah. And it's always
Yeah. Well,
it's always low in the
mix,
background
when
voices,
they mix it down,
but
like
it's
they
good
mix
work.
it down
and,
so it's
and-
low, but there's still people there. I booked this. It's called Down and Out in Beverly Hills. Was the episode in 2008, and I still get residuals to this day for that thing playing all over the world. Now, granted, these are checks
That's
for
the
43
beauty of it.
cents, 23 cents, $1.90, $19 there. But I've been getting residual. It's my longest running residual ever. Anyway, I got into a couple of classes and got together with this lady named Lee Gilbert, and she produced my demo. And then I met Carol Day Kimball, and I started studying with Carol Day Kimball, shopping my demo around to get an agent.
Carol.
Love Carol. She's my favorite.
Carol, I love
my favorite.
Carol.
Love Carol.
She's,
Yep, she's fantastic.
she does.
She loves
does.
us.
She's,
She loves
she's
actors.
one of the
I
best at
love
what
it.
she does.
Yep.
And I still talk to her, and I still go in and read for her. But I got the demo together. She got me my first agent, or she got me my second agent. The first agent I got, nothing happened. The second agent I got, Arlene Thornton, nothing happened. Then she's like, because of your musical background, she's like, I think you'll get along with Vanessa Gilbert really well. So I went to Vanessa and met her, and we kind of hit it off. And that kind of, that got me into it. And that was, dude,
That's
I got
great.
with Vanessa, I think we started working in 2018 together. And yeah, it's been nothing but great since then. Yeah.
That's great. So
Yeah,
COD
well,
happens
I
pretty
started
soon
working
after
with her
that
in
then, did it?
2018. I booked Call of Duty in
Yeah.
2019. Yeah. Yeah, I was very fortunate. Again, how
Yeah,
I got
nice.
the job as Frank Woods was, you know, you don't know you're auditioning for Call of Duty. I've said it a million times. And it was the 2 characters they gave me was R. Lee Ermey from Full Metal Jacket, and what's the guy's name from Chicago Fire? Jason Beggy. And so I did
For
this
Chicago
raspy,
Fire. Yeah.
deep
Big,
voice with
Beggy,
a
yeah.
fucking badass attitude. And for whatever reason, that was close to what the previous actor had done for Frank Woods. It was James C. Burns. It was close to what they did. Obviously, they couldn't tell me to mimic him for legal reasons, and I just kind of got lucky. I was doing the voice and the attitude that they were looking for, you know. And yeah,
Nice.
that's been happening since
Nice.
2019 now. So very, very fortunate. Ivy Eisenberg, who booked us all in Call of Duty, is the one who brought me in. Yeah. That's kind of how it happened. So yeah, ever since then, it's been nothing but voiceover.
That's cool.
You never know where it's going to
you
come
just
from.
don't
yeah.
know, you know. I mean, I say to people now, you know, the business, as you guys know, has changed in the sense that, you know, we used to go into our voiceover
To read,
agent's office,
and you had a booth.
Yes,
You had a booth
right,
director,
yeah.
right? Did you have a
To
booth
read.
director? Which was so helpful
Yeah, you had a booth
before it
director.
became everybody do it from home, and now you're your own director,
Right.
and you're like,
Yeah.
holy shit! I'd work on stuff for 4 hours. I'd be like,
and
and
you hear
I've
the voice,
changed the voice from this. I've gone the full spectrum.
You might be in the right.
Totally, yeah. And I never really appreciated it at the time, but I always remember because I would have like a 35-minute drive to the agent's office, and I would drive down, and I'd go in, and I'd do one take.
What?
And he'd go, yeah,
What?
great. And I'd go,
Exactly,
no,
please.
I want to do another one.
I fucking drove here. We're gonna do goddamn 5 takes.
I've just put 2 hours in the meter. Can I stay for a
He's
little
like,
bit? You know,
I have 35 more people to do in the next 2 hours. Get the fuck out. What are you doing? Yeah.
and I'm telling you,
Yeah.
what you did is good. But the interesting thing, I don't know if you find this as well, Damon, but sometimes when you go back and, you know, it's I don't know, the character in a video game, and it should take you 45 seconds, and you've got 23 and a half minutes of takes, right? And you go back, it's the first take you
First
end up with
instinct's
anyway.
always right, man.
Yes,
You know, it always is.
yes.
It always is.
before
It always is.
it gets in your head, and you're like, oh, maybe I need to.
That's
nuance
why
that a little
self-directing
bit,
is so
Yeah,
tough. It was
no.
so tough when you had to start
well, the first thing-
self-directing.
Yeah.
Well, the first thing I tell people when they start too is if they've started doing it and they're having a hard time with it, I say take your goddamn headphones off.
Exactly.
Because your headphones, you're gonna fall in love with your voice, and you're gonna just want to milk it and do it and make it just
Right.
perfect.
If you
Oh my
fall in
God,
love with
don't
your
I sound
performance,
great,
like
dude?
you say, you
Oh
fall in
my
love with your own
God.
voice. You're fucked. You are fucked.
Take that shit off and just act.
Right.
Yeah.
Just find a way to be the character and leave it, and go with your instinct, like Julian just said. Just first take, instinct is great.
Totally. And at that point, once you're into it, you're not doing your creative choice anymore.
Right.
You're trying to get in the head of the casting director, right?
Right.
Because you're
Which is
thinking, no, this is
poison.
what they want. This is what they want, right?
Yeah, it's best to think about. I mean, obviously, you have to think about what they want. You have to look at the specs and respect the specs. And if you feel like doing something completely 360, because you're like, everybody's going to give this performance, maybe if I do this, just stick with what, you got to stick with you, I think. You got to stick with you, who you are.
Well, I did that once.
I think so.
That does work.
Totally.
It does work sometimes.
Yeah.
I did that. I had an audition for I think it was 7-Up or one. I guess it was for a General soft drink, that company, whoever makes 7-Up. But it was and the casting call was for a cat. Like it was a little animated thing, little animated spot with a kitty cat drinking milk out of a saucer, and so they had the voice of the cat, right? So I just went, that's fucking good.
Yeah.
So I just went completely opposite of the typical, I just went deep and I went, And I fucking booked the job, and I went in there and made people laugh for like a half an hour, and that was the job, and that ended up making a couple $1,000s on that. But it was so much fun just to I think I just did it last minute, just sent it in because I knew I wasn't going to get it because with my voice I'm not going to be cast as a kitty cat.
Yeah,
but I sure enough was.
Right, which leads us nicely into the way you get jobs in this business. For me, book an airline ticket, book a job.
Book a what? I'm sorry.
Right?
Yeah, yeah. That's
Book an airline ticket, book a job. Right?
Yeah. That's the rule of thumb. If you
book your
book a
vacation,
flight,
Yeah.
book a vacation, you're going to have to cancel it.
Yeah, you're going to have to cancel it. That's the way you get a job. You know?
Yeah.
Sitting there waiting by the phone thinking it's coming is not going to happen, right? You know?
Yeah.
I had a classic one years ago where my mother was out with my stepfather, and I convinced them we should go camping in Sequoia, right? Now, and I said, no, you're going to love it. And they were like, no, it's going to be really fun.
It's dirty, it's grubby, there's no electricity, you're going to love it.
Great, you're going to love it. There's bears, you know. And so I got them to, I worked them and I finally got them to agree. So I go, okay, great. So we book it, we pack up the car. Literally everyone is in the car on the drive. And I say to my wife, let me just walk around the house, make sure everything's locked. So she goes, all right, I'm going to get a bag. So we walk in the house, the car is running outside, and the phone rings. The landline rings. And I say to my wife, do I pick it up? And she went, I think you have to. And I picked it up, and they went, hey, Julian, you just booked Baywatch Hawaii. You're leaving tomorrow. You know? So I went back out and I went, the good news is you're not going camping.
Now, did you bring your family to Hawaii? That's what I want to know.
No, I didn't. I took them out for dinner that night. I said, I'll buy dinner.
Nice.
They still haven't been camping. You know, it was.
Still haven't been camping. Yeah. I don't blame them.
But yeah,
Actually,
I mean,
love
it's book an airline ticket, right? Book a vacation, book a.
And no, it's
You
so
never know
true.
where it's
It's
coming
so
from.
true.
Yeah. I think it's when you know you're doing something else. This is my theory, anyway. For what it's worth, you're so relaxed in what you do as an actor.
Yeah.
In the auditions, because you, like as you said, Bruce, with the cat one, you're like, I'm not going to get it. So you relax in a way that you don't when you're sitting there thinking, I really want this job.
They
I
can
really want this
they
job.
can hear the desperation over your voice
know,
if you're
but
pushing. It comes. I think it comes across.
Yep.
Yeah, but But there's also this thing that if you really like it, if you really identify with it, and if you attach yourself to it, you want to do the best possible read you can possibly send in, right?
Right.
I always wanted to give the best version of this idea that I can give them. So there's that. There's a fine line. I've gotten jobs both ways.
Yeah.
Working it to death and really finding the true element that and how to connect it to organically me, like really. Then that's the key too. You have to really connect it to your heart, in some form.
Yeah, right? I think so.
You can't pretend.
But I think there's also a way that you know. I mean, I think most
Now animation is different. Animation, you can get outside yourself and you could just
Right.
just have a ball and you can book shit that way too.
Yeah, but I think a lot of I mean, look, we've all done. We were all back in New York doing theatre and everything. A lot of one of the sort of consistencies, I would say, through a lot of the different techniques, whichever way you go, is this idea that you get to a point of freedom, right? You get to a point of just letting it go, right?
Yeah.
And whether that's through the discipline of learning the lines so that they're second nature or whatever it might be, right? Having that freedom and getting to that place. So I think
Getting outside yourself.
getting outside. And so I think in that acting audition process, if you can get to that place where, you throw it in, and it's not always going to land, but you get to walk out and go, you know what? I threw it, it landed, now I'm gone, and not come out. And I mean, when we all started, I know when I started, I'd come out and I kind of relive the audition, in front of the nearest mirror I could find, which had nothing to do with what I'd done in the room, right? But psychologically, you want the satisfaction of knowing.
It's all like afterwards. And you learn that after doing 1,000 auditions and not booking a job. You learn that you do it, do your best, let it go. On to the next.
Yep.
I love what. Yeah, I kind of love what Jim Carrey. Like, there's a meme going around where Jim Carrey. It's not a meme. It's a clip from a masterclass where he's talking with a bunch of really good people. But he talks about how, like, he attributes his success to being broken, being a broken person. Like that's what artists are. We're broken people. And
Speak for yourself.
But we all kind of are. Like, we're all kind of fucked up in that way, where we want sort of this validation of something. We're out there seeking something. We're not quite sure what it is, but we're seeking something. And so when we get out of that audition, we're running it through our head. It's just because we want approval in some form or another, right? And it's hard not to go there. But you do, ultimately, if you want to be a true master artist, you have to let that all go, like Julian does, because he's a master artist.
All right, you're going to lose the light. There we go. You either lose the light or the computer. So there we go. There we go.
What happened? You lost your natural light,
It's
or you
all
lost
right.
your artificial light?
You're fine.
No,
I'm so poorly lit.
yeah. It's just it's a different look. It's a different look for the end. You can decide which look you want. I'm going to do my little.
This is the dark.
NPR.
This is the indie.
Public radio.
This is
so
the indie
everyone needs
film
to support
Julian
NPR.
Stone.
Yeah.
This is the indie film Julian Stone.
Yeah, exactly.
It's the darkly lit.
Yeah.
Just the natural light falling on his skin. Hey, so we're getting close to an hour here. So should we? What else do we need to talk about?
This has been so good.
I feel like we
This
could
has
talk
been
for
so
hours,
good.
guys. But I mean,
Julian?
this has been fun.
Yeah,
I know.
please.
You know what? I want to take it.
What?
One place.
So
I want to take it one place.
Go ahead.
Yeah, I want to take it one place because I did
Oh,
do a
boy.
little IMDb Pro before I got on.
Oh,
I want to bring
that hurts.
this Damon just for comments actually. But Bruce, you and I were both on Models Inc.
Was that right? What was that all about? Please do tell. Okay.
Different episodes, but we both did Models Inc.
You know what? I have no recollection of what the hell I did on Models Inc. And I'm not trying to get out of it. I just have no idea what I did. But I do remember the credit. I remember being on it. I don't remember being on it, but I remember the credit.
Okay.
It was
It's Aaron Spelling show. So it was the same as Beverly Hills 90210, but
Yeah.
it was just an offshoot of that where a bunch of people lived in. No, well, no, it wasn't Melrose Place. It was Models Inc. Yeah, so I'm thinking of Melrose.
I think it only did one season, didn't it? But it was.
You did a season?
No,
Yeah.
the show lasted a season.
One show?
I did
Oh,
I did the pilot and one other episode, but
Wow.
but
You did more than I did. I think I did one episode.
I think you're the first person I've met since then that actually did an episode of it. So I feel there's some kind of bonding here, like between Call of Duty and Models Inc.
We got a lot of bonding, actually, yeah. There's a lot of bonding between us. We were talking about the club scene of New York back in the day too, because I was a doorman. People know that I was a doorman at Limelight back in the day, and
everywhere.
Where did you drink?
I worked at a bar called Rebar. That was a really hip bar on 16th. Do you? So
I remember Rebar.
My buddy Andy Frisella, who I went to theater school with, he was involved with these dudes, and they were building this bar, and I got a job to do the tile work, and it was all mosaic tiles. So I had never cut shards of tile, but we cut this artist, JJ was his name. I can't remember his last name, but he laid out this whole intricate pattern through the whole bar. It's on the floor, and he drew it out in like a Sharpie or marker, and we would take tiles and cut them in shards and make these formations or whatever of his artistic idea. And so, so I got a job building Rebar, and then I worked there as a DJ. I worked there as a bartender. I worked there as a manager on Monday nights, and it was a great gig because I could make a couple $100 a night, and but that I drank everywhere. But that was one of my biggest gigs, and of course I worked in Soho. I worked in Tribeca. It's this place called 131 Duane. I was a bartender. And those were the days where, I'd go to work at 4 or 4:30 in the afternoon when the sun was just going down in New York, and I'd be going to bed about 7:30 or 8 in the morning. So there's for a winter or two, I didn't see much sunlight in New York. I just drive my motorcycle because I moved out to Williamsburg, Brooklyn, and so I'd drive my motorcycle in and go to work, drink, do everything, and I'd come home 6 or 7 or 8 in the morning. I was a total vampire, and I knew I'm like, this cannot be sustainable. And look, I think I was just lucky to make it out alive.
I think we all were. I can remember.
Totally.
We lived in Jersey. I take the PATH train out, and I can remember
and waking up and the doors are wide open. You're at the last stop. Yeah.
Pop would wake me up at Newark, I'm like, I said, my kids don't ever fall asleep on a train, and I would be like, it was,
I did that too. One night after Limelight, I had probably close to $1,000 in my pocket. And this is back in 1980s, and I had to take a subway home, but I ended up in Jamaica, Queens. I woke up on sleeping on a bench on the. And they were turning around the train. It was at the end of the line, so they were turning around, coming back into Manhattan. And I was
what have I done? God. What have I done with my life? And then you think, what have I done with my life? What am I doing? What are you doing? Yeah.
I obviously didn't have enough cocaine because I fell asleep.
We
on the
did.
train.
We survived, and we're here to tell stories. Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Thank goodness.
Yeah.
Julian, thank you so much,
this
man.
has been great,
It's such an honor to have you on and hear your
thank you,
stories,
Julian.
man. You're such a badass actor. I love your fucking voice. I love it, love it, love it.
Yeah.
Cool.
Good. I mean, it's nice to see the connection of all of us throughout all of our careers.
I think that's one of the nice things you're doing,
Yeah.
because you don't know where those crossovers are, right? I mean, we see,
Right.
but you don't understand, like you say.
Hey, what's coming up for
We've all
you?
been on this whirlwind for all these years,
Is there anything that you can talk about that's coming up, or is it all NDA?
Yeah, there's a bunch of NDA. No, I just it's a long story for now, but started writing, producing a couple of years ago, so I've got some stuff
Good.
that
Cool.
trying to get off the ground.
Good.
So
Good.
Yeah.
I've got some pretty
Good
interesting
luck with
projects.
all
Fingers crossed
that.
for you.
I hope we all run into each other in a
All right,
project
buddy.
together
Cheers.
soon. I'm sure we will. But
Oh,
Julian, thank you so much,
Brilliant.
brother.
Yeah.
yep.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Ah, my pleasure.
Julian
Great to see you guys.
Stone.
Julian Stone, everybody, thank you so much, man.